Hello and welcome once again to Ignite Your Impact. My name is Jen Rhodes. I'm trying my best to stay in my seat. Seated next to Matt Rhodes.
Hello.
We really need to figure out the chair situation because I've got ants in my pants.
She's always falling out of her chair, but
And I got to do a dance. That just means I'm excited.
yeah, I'm excited for today. We're going to shoot some real truth serum. We're going to talk a little bit about some personal stuff to us and some things that are really going to hit with people. And it's probably going to stir some emotions in some people.
Anytime we say things that trigger, there's reason. We don't just rant to flap our yaps, to quote my grandmother. There's intention behind everything that we do. So we are going to intentionally trigger some past responses that you may have experienced as well. I think that you were saying it beautifully. Like, yeah, we may piss some people off with this one.
we may, but we're also, I think we're going to open some minds up too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I think it'll go.
If I can stay in my seat.
Yes.
Here we go. But for the people with open minds, hey, sup? You're my people, right? We're going to share some facts on how things play out in life, how you can create things, and that's easy to understand. For those that have stepped out of the matrix, we're going to share some even deeper stuff. Either way, it's going to be great.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. Free fucking will. Walk your path. I want you to remember that line as we go through that. Just remember that. The free will walking your own path. Because when you understand this concept, you start to move with real speed in all verticals in your life. When you understand how free will really works. Now, if you look up the word free will, you're going to get a few different definitions based on what you believe in or what you don't believe in. You might find the power or capacity of humans to make decisions or perform actions independently of any prior event or state in the universe. That's one thing you may find.
I like that one.
Yeah.
But then there's others that may put free will through a different lens. And they're stuck. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There's your first trigger of the day. You're stuck. You blame everyone and everything. You think everything happens to you instead of for you.
I think we all know people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've said it before on my Facebook page. There's only two types of people in this world. When somebody posts something great that's happening in their world, there's the I'm so happy for you, and there's the must be nice. There's your two definitions of free will. Right? Those that are stuck think free will is an illusion. Our will is not of our own making. Thoughts and intentions emerge from background causes. There's always something underlying that we may or may not be aware of, which we exert no conscious control. We do not have the freedoms that we think we have. We are puppets.
So
guys reject that.
So now that we've got those a couple of definitions out of the way, and we're going to get back to those. I'm going to repeat some of those as we go through here. But I want to share a story that involves the power of free will. So this will really hit with you and you see how this works. So bear with me as I share this. This story happens right before an event that everyone is familiar with. Right before COVID. We all experienced COVID. I want you to go back in your life and remember the time before COVID. That's the period that I'm going to discuss for the next few minutes about Jen and I. Because many of you have heard little pieces of this story. I'm still not going to fill in all of it, but I am going to give you some more pieces.
Yeah, no, we don't have that much time.
I am going to give you some more pieces and see how that ties into free will. Again, this is when everyone was living their normal life before the shit hit the fan. But it was not normal for Jen and I. We were in some serious turmoil prior to that time. 5 years of losing $15,000 a month, and I'm not talking on a P&L, I'm talking cash, money out of the bank every single month in our yoga studios. You do the math. 5 times 12 times $15,000. It's a lot of money. So when you have a business, I know it's like, oof. When you have a business that's hemorrhaging money like that, you have to find money somewhere else. Well, we have these yoga studios over here losing all this money. And on the right-hand side, we have these gyms that are making all this money. So you start sucking all the money out of the gyms to keep the other business afloat. And once you've done that, any business owners who've experienced some of that, when you start sucking all the money out, you have nothing left to market. Therefore, you're not driving any new leads. You have nothing left to pay good quality people. Therefore, you start losing people. You have nothing left to freaking operate the business. So imagine how that business starts doing after a year or two of sucking all the cash flow out of it. After that, again, we haven't hit COVID yet. After you've cut every single expense and there is nothing left, you're down to the bone, you start doing every job yourself because you can't afford anyone else to do it. That's where you saw, if you go back in social media or anything, a couple of years before COVID, you saw Jen teaching every single yoga class. She's bouncing between studios and then she's bouncing up to the gyms, teaching classes there. That's what happens when you get into this situation. So now that you kind of know some pieces of it, the walls were crashing down on us at that time. And I said to myself, I just got to make some moves. I just need to make my own breaks. I can do this. And here's the kicker. I said, something big is going to happen that's going to change all this for us. Then it happened. The doozy happened.
You weren't.
COVID hit. And it shut all of our places down. But the bills were still coming in. The big thing happened, but it didn't happen like I thought it would.
And you weren't very specific.
No.
Language matters.
No.
While you were saying that something big is going to happen at the same rate, I was saying daily as I'm driving into the bank to pull money out or to deposit or anything like I remember crying in the bank deposit line because that was like my only time alone. I just kept saying, something's got to give. Something's got to give.
But there's more than just the business side. Why don't you share some of that?
Yeah. So fast forward with the shutdown, our daughter got sick. And it was about that time that she lost about 30 pounds in a month. And the doctors were just baffled. We spent more nights in the ER in the hospital than we did in our own bed. Matt slept on a couch in her hospital room on Christmas Eve. We spent 2 weeks at the Mayo Clinic just praying for answers. Like her poor body. My kid can do anything. Just praying for answers. Like losing 30 pounds in a month. This child can barely move to even think about eating breakfast to go to school. So you homeschool. And during all of this, sorry, I'm going to get emotional. Where do you think our son is? Well, he's got 2 absentee, stressed out parents. My heart aches that we did not see for him what was happening to his world. But if you think about it, you only repair the part of the dam that you see the leak.
Yeah, those leaks were with our businesses and with our daughter. And that's where we focused all of our time, and going beyond just our children, where do you think Jen and I were at during that time? All that mess of going on prior to COVID and COVID hitting. Do you think our relationship was in a good place? You obviously know the answer to that.
It was not.
If you just heard what we went through, you knew it was not. You hear about, should we sometimes slip this in, all the amazing sex we have now. That wasn't happening then. We certainly were not taking care of our our health and our fitness and our mindset during any of that. So our lives are in disarray. COVID hits. Then we finally get to open our gyms back up to finally maybe start bringing in a little bit more revenue. We had all the spacing and bullshit we had to do back then. So this next
Don't get
part,
me started
yeah,
on that.
whether
Just
you believe in
asinine.
face masks or not
This is not our argument right now.
does not matter to me. Again, this is part of the story of what we were working with. We're going into these gyms not knowing if we're going to make it the next day, financially, personally, mentally. We don't know. And we've got everyone yelling at us. We've got assholes yelling at us saying, I'm not wearing a fucking mask. And you got assholes on the other side saying they're not wearing their fucking mask. That's what we dealt with. And yeah, I'm calling customers assholes.
Yeah.
Because everyone in my life at that time was an asshole because I was letting life happen to me and not for me. Everything was happening to me and not for me. Therefore, no one was my friend. What I didn't understand was that free fucking will got us there. And that free will was going to get us out. And I don't tell this story for pity. That's not why we're telling this. You know, our world is great. Things have all worked out, which is part of the free will part. I don't tell that. I tell it because it's authentic. It's true. It will share a free will point that you're going to hear here in just a moment. I probably also shared a little bit, so now you'll be a little bit nicer to small business owners when they're going through some stuff. Again, prior to COVID, I said something big was going to happen. And again, I'm not saying I created COVID because we all know it was created in a lab in China.
There it is.
There's my political side of that.
I told you we were going to trigger you guys today.
Yes.
But what you said, and I will say you could very well have created COVID, and I could have too, because our thoughts shape our reality. What you are saying that something big was going to happen. I know it. I feel it. Something big is on the horizon. Something's got to give. COVID or no COVID, the details are immaterial. You were putting it out there. You were looking for something.
Yeah.
I was doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. We weren't specific enough in our statements.
Yes. And if you're someone like that right now saying, I just need something, COVID probably ain't going to happen again, but there's something that's going to happen. If you have your eyes open to it, you're going to see it. And I'm a little bit somewhat embarrassed about this, but not really, because COVID was a horrible time. A lot of lives were lost, and I don't take that lightly. No. But it was a miracle. It was a time for a reset for us. Not a bankruptcy reset, because we got through all that and it all worked out. And if that was a bankruptcy reset for you, there's no shame in that. It was a tough time for everyone, but a reset for me to feel alive again. Something happened and it triggered for that moment. And I said again to myself, I just need to make some moves. I just need to make my own breaks. I can do this.
Yeah. Superman's not coming. Get off the fucking floor. That was my mantra. I'll say I said it for 3 months. I said it for a few years. You did the math. If you've known me for a while, you knew how many classes I was teaching a day. How many people were counting on me to show up with what I do. And then have to come home to turmoil. Right?
Yeah.
Superman's not coming. Get off the fucking floor. I'll tell you, that mantra saved my life.
Yeah, and I woke up one morning and just said, this is my chance to stop living this way. Free will was set into motion at that very moment because I was going to walk my path. And I hoped that my wife was going to walk it with me, but I couldn't force her to do that. At the end of the day, I had to walk my own path.
I'm so glad you say that, because I remember that. My God, I'm like bawling my eyes out. I remember that moment for us after after everything exploded. Jen, I'm going this way. I pray you'll do it with me, but I got to do it. And I was so blessed that not only was I invited to come along his journey, but I was thinking the exact same thing. Literally, that stopgap allowed us enough space to say, this ends here. This is where we want to go. Are you coming with me? And even if that person doesn't, you've still got to walk one foot in front of the other. Superman's not coming. Get off the fucking floor. If I can get myself together. Many of you know how much amazing things came out of that decision for both of us. We were both going to walk our own path. Luckily, it was the same path, so we got to hold hands. And our family wanted to do it too. Once we decided, we began to control everything. No longer did things happen to us. They started happening for us. And it was nothing but a shift in perception. That's it. And now if there's any resistance, we are able to sit back and analyze it in such a way. What is this trying to teach me? What do I need to learn to resolve this so that we can keep moving forward with speed?
Yeah. So how does this story relate to you, the person listening? I'm going to get to that. We are going to get to that.
I'm going to stop crying at some point. Probably not.
But there's a few more points before we get that. I want to go back to that definition. Free will is an illusion. Our wills are simply not of our own making. Thoughts and intentions emerge from other places, other backgrounds that we're unaware of. We do not have the freedom that we think we have. I disagree with that entire statement.
I know. I'm like sitting here listening to you say it, and I'm like, reject, reject, reject.
So I'm going to give you some stats. Gyms and fitness facilities. You're not going to believe this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Gyms and fitness facilities were closing at a higher rate than almost any other industry, including restaurants and bars. Crazy. 1.5 million fitness professionals lost their jobs. Think about that. $29.2 billion with a B in revenue was lost. Over 9,600 gyms closed. That's 25% of our freaking industry. Based on the true story that Jen and I just told you of where we were at prior to COVID, we had no safety net. You would have thought 100% we would have been one of the ones that did not make it. We would have been at 9,600 because we obviously didn't have anything special. We proved that in our yoga studios. It's not like we were doing anything special. What we had was free will to walk our own path, no matter what happened around us. You can't tell me with those stats that I just told you that free will did not come into that. It's just not possible to be where we're at today, not only to survive, but be thriving without the belief in free will. And I could go on and on about the crazy things in the last 2 years that we've used free will. I mean, we have a story, it's an amazing one that I'm not going to get into the details. We're getting audited by the IRS. I mean, that's a scary time. And we changed the narrative and all of a sudden got a call from them. They said it was a mistake. They owed us $40,000 plus interest.
I remember that. And it was, had that happened 2 years prior, we would have been wrecked.
Yeah.
Because it was our perception.
Yep.
But we changed how we decide. We decided how we react.
Now, for those of you that don't believe in or don't buy into the picture, you can create events. That's okay. I know you believe in the part of free will of how you react to events, how you can adjust things. Therefore, you can bend and change your reality based on how you react to what happens to you and making it happen for you. Even for simple things, we're talking big things, life-changing things. Even for simple things, you have free will. Even as much as wanting to lose a little bit of fat.
Yeah. And I like you tying it back to that, because no matter what industry you're in, I think we can tie this into that simple goal of wanting to look and feel and perform your best.
Using free will to make it happen.
Whether that's losing fat, whether that's losing weight, whether that's building muscle, whether or not you want a six-pack, I don't care. We're going to put it into that. I want to look and feel better. So I'm going to get super tactical, because you guys know how I love my lists. Maybe you don't know how I love my lists. But let's say you have this goal of looking and feeling and performing better. Let's say you want to just lose a little bit of fat. It is a simple choice of free will. With free will, you can decide you are someone that looks good when you put on that outfit or you put on that bikini. Girls, you know who I'm calling out the minute you pull out that red bikini. And it's so fun when I see my progress pictures from my clients come in, and it's gone from that decision of the person you were versus who's been hiding in the closet you're just ready to show off. I love the red bikini pictures. And the ladies, I'm shouting you out. I won't say your names, but it's always fun to see that flip. You decided that's you now. You decided that you're the guy that takes his shirt off at the beach. And then you start using free will to make conscious decisions on how you get there. Free will helps you shape that identity that you know you are, but maybe you're not making those decisions that will get you there. Free will gives you the ability to say no to that donut. Those donuts aren't that convincing, guys. That's free will. Free will also is in that decision that you feel like if you deserve that extra meal out, or you get a day off of the gym. But with that free will, you decide. You get to decide that identity and then make the conscious decisions on how you get there. So you lift those 4 days a week. You get your steps. You're conscious of your water. You start tracking your food. You get hell-bent on your protein like we talk. And you get your ass to bed so that you can be rested and ready to show up as this person that you are creating or uncovering. I like uncovering better. Day in, day out, you do the little things with precision. Hell-bent consistency. Slowly chipping away. Every single day. Just show up, just show up, just show up. And then one day you wake up and you've lost 5% body fat in a month like my girl Brittany. Or maybe you've put on 10 pounds of muscle, like Tori. Or maybe you decide that you're no longer going to let that person inside talk to you like that, like Mari. You literally have free will to decide and change today.
I love it. I hope that you guys listen to how free will can change your entire life around stories that happened to Jen and I over the last few years, and how we use that free will to move us forward to all the great ways she tied that up on how you use free will just to get secure about where you're at in your body. I loved it.
I love that. Guys, if you like it, share it. Give us a 5-star review. Share this with somebody that you think is going to find value in this. Maybe you're trying to say these things and you don't know how to say them to the person. Share it. Let us help you get your heart out. And with that, we'll talk next time, guys.